for joining us. This next session, we have scored a coup. I'm going to hand things over to Lawrence Yun. But Lawrence Yun, he is the chief economist and the senior vice president of research at the National Association of Realtors. And he oversees and he's responsible for really a wide range of research activity for NAR, including NAR's existing home sales statistics, the affordability index, home buyers and sellers profile report. He regularly provides commentary on the real estate market trends for all of our 1.4 million realtors. And when we extended this invitation to Lawrence said, absolutely, how could I say no to the Women's Council with their passion and their investment in RPAC. So it is a privilege and a pleasure to have Dr. Yun here. And welcome, Lawrence, and take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, and hello, everyone. And what Jeff mentioned about the Women's Council, just highlighting, actually lighting up all the figures, whether it's RPAC contribution, serving on committees. I mean, truly, you are a leadership developing group. So, first, congratulations in being so engaged in every area. Today is the election, and it will be, a long night, short night, or long week. People are making all type of speculation. But I will say that the real estate market has surprised in 2020 for the better, fortunately. We will actually have a higher home sales in 2020 versus 2019 once all the remaining months of the sales data come in. I'm fairly confident of that. Prices are much higher, as you all know. And going into 2021, irrespective of who wins the election, I think the real estate is set for the reason that interest rates will be low, similar to what it is right now in 2021. And then you have to consider vaccine. It will be discovered. America's ingenuity. We will discover the vaccine and make it widely available, which will contribute to normalization of the economic activity, and the jobs recovery, which has been taking place, will continue. So you combine the fact that low interest rate, job addition, things are looking good. I mean, there are some constraining factors, which I will go into shortly. But as an economist, I speak much better with a PowerPoint slide. So let me upload that onto the screen. So please bear with me as I do that. All right, here we go. So let me first start with the broader economic data, the GDP, and it's just simply off the chart negative, off the chart positive conditions. President Trump was referring to a V-shaped recovery. That is to say, during the lockdown, when we went 30% decline on a GDP, followed by 30% increase in GDP. So you say, well, we must be back to normal. But if you do the numbers, in fact, if you have any high school students that you work with, or your sons or daughters, give them this quiz. Assume you have $100 and you go down 50% and come back up 50%. How much do you have? And the answer is not $100. So it seems like you go down 50%, up 50%, you should be back to normal, but that's not the case. You go down from 100 to $50, and if you make 50% gain from that, you are only up to $75. So you can see that even though the GDP looks like percentage-wise pretty much back, but in reality, we are still short on the economic activity. But at least it's moving in the right direction with the reopening of the economy. Because of the economic decline, the Federal Reserve went all in on maximum liquidity policy. The Fed funds rate, the chart that you see here, is a 0% interest rate, but that's not for the consumer. That's what the banks will be able to borrow from each other. And something called quantitative easing, buying mortgage-backed securities, government bond, But the end result for real estate is mortgage rates have hit all-time low in 2020. And that is fueling buyers to come into the market. So maximum liquidity policy. The good news on this is the Federal Reserve has indicated they will keep this policy for the next 3 or 4 years. So definitely until 2021, we can be assured that this similar low interest rate environment will be with us. Now, in addition to the maximum liquidity policy, the fiscal policy was also at the maximum. Bipartisanship in Washington, certainly on an election day, is a dirty word. But back in March, when we had the shutdown, bipartisan, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, President Trump all got together and say, we have to help the economy. And hence we sent all the stimulus check, if you remember, $1,200. The unemployment insurance, many realtors were able to tap into that during that business disruption period. And small business administration loan, which if you meet various criteria, you don't have to repay. So maximum fiscal policy trying to fix the economy. Now in the process, it blew up the budget deficit. But the economist's perspective is fix the economy, worry about budget deficit in future years. So that's what we are doing right now, trying to fix the economy, even though it's coming at a cost of large federal budget deficit. What about the job market? Well, interesting part is all 50 states had very low unemployment rate before the pandemic. And then we had a lockdown. Some states reopened its economy sooner than others. For example, Georgia was the first state to reopen the economy, very controversial, but Georgia right now are down 3.6% in terms of their job number. If you look at Idaho, Idaho is almost back up to normal. They are down less than 1%, so which means that next month, they may be actually have more jobs in 2020 versus 2019. But other states like Illinois is down, New York down 11%, California down, and then the tourist-dependent states like Hawaii down 18%, Nevada down 9%. But interesting development is all 50 states had a positive job growth before the pandemic, all 50 states with low unemployment rate, but now there's a big divergence with some states doing much better economically while other states are lagging behind. So interesting development. And I'm sure based on where you are located, you can look at the chart and just gauge where you stand in terms of the potential housing demand. If we look at the total jobs in the US over the past 20 years, it looks like the following. The middle of the chart that you see, small hump that you see, is artificial job creation led by the subprime lending, easy lending condition. And then it blew up, imploded, and we had a foreclosure crisis. Hindsight is clear vision, and we should never make loans without income documentation or that overstretch people's budget, but it was costly mistake. Now, fortunately, in the current environment, we don't have subprime lending. So when we had the lockdown back in March, April, I got a call from Bloomberg, all the media and so on. Are we going to face another foreclosure crisis? And my answer was definitively not. We don't have subprime lending. All the underwriting was done in a sound manner. So we are in a much solid foundation than say 10 years ago. And so I was not concerned about any potential price decline. Now, after the foreclosure crisis, the middle of the chart at the bottom, 2010, America experienced the longest economic expansion ever. 10 straight years of job creation. Then the lockdown occurred, and in a single month in April, we lost all that job. 10 years of job creation gone in a single month. But it was due to the government-imposed lockdown. The government said you have to stay at home, don't go out, very little economic activity, and massive job losses. But as you can see in recent months, jobs are being added to the economy, but we still have another 10 million job creation that is needed to get us back up to normal. So I would say we are about 50% recovered. We need to go another 50%. People are saying maybe it will take another 18 months to get us there. We have to wait and see. We know the vaccine will certainly contribute to jobs recovery, but we are not back to normal as of yet. Related to the income situation, very interesting. So even though unemployment rate is high, people actually have more income today than before. Normally, people's income would rise 2 or 3% a year, family income. I know that for the realtors, your income fluctuates greatly. Some years up 50%, other years down 30%. I know it fluctuate, but people with W-2 salary income would rise about 2, 3, 4% a year. But during the months of the pandemic, high unemployment, overall income in the US actually grew faster than normal. And you scratch your head and say, how is this possible? Again, stimulus check, the unemployment insurance benefits. Someone who was working at Macy's department store got laid off. And what do you know? The unemployment check is actually higher than the wages they were receiving. And all this other business loan that was provided. So large stimulus package really provided the income support. So what are people doing with this extra income? They're not spending. I mean, if you cannot go see the baseball game in person, well, there's less money into the economy. If you cannot do the indoor dining, well, there's less activity. So there is less consumer spending, even though people have more income. This also hints at, given such a high savings rate currently, that once the vaccine is discovered, and again, we know that vaccine will be discovered later this year, early next year. Once it's discovered, there could be some unleashing of the consumer spending into the economy, really beginning to accelerate economic recovery. So there is that potential. There's large savings done so far by the consumers. During the pandemic, where are people spending and not spending money? Well, they are spending a little more at beer, wine, liquor stores. And you may say, well, people are trying to drown out their sorrows. And the answer is more the case that they're not going to the restaurants and bars, so they're drinking more at home since they cannot drink outside. The other is they're doing more online shopping. We know that. We are doing more shopping through Amazon and other delivery, but maybe you did not know that it was up 20%. Building material and gardening spending is up 12%. This is a very good news for the real estate. First, it's implying that Americans are viewing their home as something special. They're willing to spend money for remodeling. They want to put the flowers, improve the landscape. They view their house as something special. So more spending on housing related. Home Depot CEO has recently commented the revenue growth at Home Depot is amazingly high. He never anticipated this high revenue in 2020, but it's occurring because people view their home as a special place to be. And also people are staying at home and maybe they're bored, so they are buying bicycles, maybe chess games, video games. So spending is up, but people are driving less, not going to the restaurants. And also for people who, major cities like Chicago, New York City, if they don't have to go to office, then you don't need new clothes to impress people. So people are not spending, and tourism related souvenir purchases down greatly. Well, let's now turn to the very good news for the housing sector. Housing sector is booming. You see the decline during the lockdown, but look how it's flying out of that decline. So home sales in September is up 20% from 1 year ago. So September of last year versus September of this year, up by 20%. These are just amazing activity. Again, people are viewing housing as something special. Maybe they sense that during the lockdown, it's frustrating to be in apartments, but I think there's something more. People believe they need to stay at home for a longer period, even after the vaccine discovery. So something special is happening on the housing sector. Newly constructed home. If you work with the builders, you are doing even better because new home sales are up 40% from 1 year ago. So whatever the builders build, they have no trouble selling. I know everyone has their business model, but this is one area, if you can develop some good relationship with some local builders or national builders in your area, that it is really flying off the shelf. Builders build it, they have no trouble finding buyers. I mean, builders are having trouble in terms of rising lumber prices, lack of construction workers, but once they complete the home, they have no trouble finding a buyer. Pending contracts are at all-time high, which is hinting that this autumn will be the best autumn possibly ever for home sales. So very good figures for pending contracts as related to the closing this autumn. Even better news, what do realtors say to their clients to demonstrate seriousness? Get a mortgage approval. So what are consumers doing? They're going shopping for mortgages, and mortgage application to buy a home is up consistently 20 or 30% higher from 1 year ago, depending upon which week you are looking at. So 20 to 30%. This is the first step in the home buying process, or one of the earlier steps. So this winter would be one of the best winter for home sales ever, because there are plenty of buyers, potential buyers in the pipeline ready to hit the marketplace. So I know that there's a seasonal patterns, summer months doing better, winter months a little slow, but if you compare this winter with other past winters, it will be busier based on the people in the pipeline. But the constraining factor is we simply don't have enough homes for sale. Multiple offers becoming very prevalent. By definition, multiple offers means one winner and multiple losers. And the losers have to start over the process all over again, including the realtors who are representing their clients. So there's a lot of headaches involved. And furthermore, because of multiple offers, lack of inventory, that prices are rising too fast. Now, it is very good news for homeowners that their prices are rising, but if the prices continue to rise at this fast pace of 7, 8, 9, 10% rate, it's going to price out potential first-time buyers. So we talk about the home ownership as being part of the American dream, but without the inventory, that home ownership opportunity could be shut off. So we need to ensure that we build more homes and have this steady inventory. Now, for the remainder of the year, don't anticipate any opening in the inventory. Only as we go into 2021 spring months, maybe we begin to see more home building activity and bring more inventory. Home building is critical for overall increase in inventory. It's empty home. You build those empty home, and usually it's not for the first-time buyers. It's for the trade-up buyers. As people trade up, they release their existing homes onto the market. It starts that chain reaction process. So inventory is a major constraint currently. We need to encourage people to go into home building. I saw a very encouraging story about a chef who was working at a restaurant in New York City. Because of the restaurant shutdown, he decided to go into home building, and he said he's actually making more in the home building industry right now. So we need to have more people going into home building because we are very short on inventory. Another development that we are seeing is consumers are desiring homes out in the suburbs, smaller towns, away from urban centers. Recreational resort areas should be less than 10%, but now showing up 13%. Now, we provided the opportunity for some clients to choose more than one. Most people chose one choice, but some people chose two choices. So the numbers add up to be more than 100%. But there is definitely a trend away from city centers going into the suburbs. So why is this happening? Well, just randomly selected. It's not a scientific. I spoke to a few realtors about their clients. Why are they making these choices? And some realtors are saying, just based on what their clients are saying, they're uncomfortable with some of the social unrest that has turned violent across some cities in America. Now, George Floyd's killing has raised a very important issue for America, to treat every American with human dignity, Black Americans should be treated with human dignity. Very, very important issue. We know what is right and wrong part. But the protest, First Amendment rights, American believes in that, but not the looting and the violence. People don't like it, and they are seeking some safety out in the suburbs. Even in the city where they were not impacted, they think perhaps it could be impacted. So they are seeking some safer neighborhood. But the big reason as to why this is occurring is work from home phenomena. Twitter has announced to their employees, you can work from home forever. Facebook believes half of their employees could possibly work from home forever. Microsoft is currently taking application from their employees on justifying why they could work from home. So as more and more companies offers this, and my guess is that most companies will not offer 100% work from home, but some kind of hybrid. Come to office 2 days a week, other 3 days, you can work from home. So if this is a new economy, even after the vaccine discovery, then people will say, well, if the commuting is not so important, why am I living so close to Manhattan? Why am I living so close to downtown when I can live so far away in larger houses at more affordable prices? So the main driver of this trend is people are sensing that they could work from home even after the vaccine discovery in some hybrid fashion. So very interesting development on this part. And another development is homes in the vacation counties are rising faster, home sales are rising faster than in normal major metro markets. So Lake Tahoe, the Appalachian Mountains, the Atlantic beach along New Jersey, Maryland, all doing very well. Why? Well, work from home can be work from vacation home. Who would know the difference? So people are now saying that if I can work more from home, why not make it as a vacation home? So this trend also beginning to develop. So I would say the forecast, which I have shown here, needs to be upgraded even better. But let me run through the forecast what this is saying. First, we're not going to have any home price decline. The reporters who asked me the question back in April, some were very hostile to say, no, surely with job losses, we're going to see home price decline. And I said definitively not, for the two reasons. We don't have subprime lending, and also we have housing shortage. You don't have price decline in a housing shortage. So prices are rising. Many realtors said I need to upgrade this forecast on prices. Home sales, we missed the critical home buying, spring buying season, yet summer, second half is so strong, we're gonna easily make up, and 2020 home sales will be higher than 2019, which means the dollar revenue rising roughly around 10% possibly in 2020. Then 2021, home prices will depend upon how much home builders build. And my guess is that home builders will increase production, but insufficiently, so prices will still be positive. Home sales will get added juice in 2021. And the additional demand is coming from this second order impact. Second order impact is the following. Homeowners, right before the pandemic, say January, February, they never considered selling their home or buying a home. They were very happy with their home. But now with this new work from home possibility, people are saying, my 4-bedroom home is insufficient. I need to buy a home that has a 5th bedroom to turn it into office space, maybe a larger backyard to run around, or if they have a pets. So you will see this new demand, which was not there before the pandemic, beginning to steadily arise in 2021 and going into 2022. Mortgage rate will be low, job creation continuing, vaccine discovery will certainly unleash some of the consumer spending. Everything is looking really good, independent of who is the president. So I know today everyone will be wide awake trying to look for the election results, but for the real estate, things are really looking fine. The only area of concern I would say is maybe the very expensive regions of Manhattan, New York City, that could be some vulnerable to some price declines, and possibly even San Francisco. I know San Francisco, San Jose region offers so much livability, quality to it, but some people simply may say $1 million home for that small 2-bedroom is insufficient. I'm going far away where I can buy a mansion. So aside from those two areas, I think the market is overall in a very good position. And some of you who are dabbling in commercial real estate, that is a little tougher call. The retail, business is tough. The office, they're still paying their rents, even though people are not utilizing. So we'll see how the commercial real estate market develops. But the residential, it is one of the bright sectors of the economy, and be thankful that you are in this industry. So thank you for listening. And now I am going to turn it back over to Jeff or whoever turn it back to. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yoon. Our next session starts at 3:15 Central Time. Women's Wealth, Investing for Financial Freedom. So be sure to log off and join us over there in about 20 minutes.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Young. That was excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lawrence.
This is all
Thank
good
you.
news for us.
Yes.
Even in California, we're thrilled. The market is hot, hot, hot here. So yeah, San Diego, we have a lot of people moving to states all over this screen. But at the same time, we have a lot of people that are like, listen, the pandemic has told me I do not want to live in this house one more minute. Get me out of here.
Or how important home has become.
Yes,
Right.
I was gonna say pandemic's got me loving my home even more.
Me too. Yeah.
Dr. Young, I have a question, if I may.
Go for it.
So as you know, like a lot of these big corporations, Twitter, Facebook, Google, they're all metropolitan areas. So to get their employees to work there, they have to pay higher wages because the cost of living is higher in the metropolitan areas. With the new work from home idea, do you think that these high-tech jobs, their wages may go down, where now these employees can now work in more rural areas where the cost of living is lower? So now these companies don't have to pay the high wages to match the metropolitan cost of living.
The companies will determine because, from companies' perspective, they want to recruit top talent. And somehow they're all based in the few cities, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, Washington, D.C. area, New York City. So they have to pay high wages to bring. But now if they can work from home, in order to recruit, I don't know if the workers are willing to accept little lower wages. But however the market dynamics work, but the overall situation could be that there could be workers willing to accept slightly lower wages to work from anywhere, and then they determine what their location is. So, but very interesting development as to how things could play out regarding that work from home. We are at the only very early innings on this.
Thank you.
I had a quick question. I heard that a lot of the companies that are letting their executives work out of their home, they're not using their facilities anymore. So now they're talking about turning those into lofts and apartments to help our housing situation. Has anyone?
Some of the commercial buildings will remain vacant, or they need to repurpose. And in one area where they could repurpose is into housing, because we are short on inventory. Even some of the shopping malls, turn it into a half condominium and other sort of indoor shopping center with medical offices and others. So, what people need to think about how to refurbish. But right now we do have housing shortage. So any conversion into housing units will be welcoming.
Thank you.
All right, it's right at the 3 o'clock. So have a wonderful day, everyone. I'm going to sign off.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks so much.